Good day everyone. Today we are going to tackle about the female confidence gap and feminist pedagogy, gender dynamics in the active engaged classroom. Before we proceed, I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Casey Nogas from Bethel Ed HA2. This chapter reviews how gender dynamics influence student engagement and performance in active learning settings and explains how we might employ feminist pedagogy to more fully consider the role gender plays in active learning environment. If we talk about feminist pedagogy, it encourages educators to create inclusive and supportive classroom environments that empower all students, regardless of gender. By addressing the female confidence gap and promoting equitable participation, instructors can help cultivate a more engaging and successful learning experiences for all students. Here are some common practices and benefits of active engaged learning. Methods in active engaged classroom feminist pedagogy to offer solutions to help students of all genders succeed in these high-impact environments, male and female regards to their abilities and performance. Here are the common practice and benefits of active engaged learning. Number 1, the first one is develop collaborative skills. Collaboration is a pillar of most active learning approaches. In increasingly team-oriented workplaces, students whose only experience is with easy writings and exams will find themselves at a disadvantage. By working together in breakout groups, students develop the abilities they'll need to collaborate in the workforce. It means that collaboration is a pillar of active learning and approaches is highly valued in today's team-oriented workplaces. By engaging in collaborative activities, students develop the skills and abilities they will need to effectively students to understand of the material, but also boost their confidence and their interpersonal skills. In a workplace, collaboration allows individuals to leverage their collective experiences and skills to solve problems and achieve common goals. The next one is encourage risk-taking. Students may initially resist the move to active learning. After all, it's easy to sit in class and take notes until the talking is done. Active learning pulls students out of their comfort zone by creating an environment where risk-taking is encouraged. As they get more comfortable sharing their thoughts, defending their conclusions, and building on each other's ideas, they'll gain confidence and self-possession. In active learning creates environment where students are actively engaged in the learning process. So they are going to taking rest, building confidence. Through that, they are going to embrace active learning, and they are going to prepare for the challenges and collaborative nature of the workplace. The next one is number 3, requires students preparation. During your college days, there were likely courses that didn't require much day-to-day effort beyond simply showing up to class. You could be tired or disengaged, and the professor likely didn't notice, especially if you hid in the back rooms of the lecture hall. And now, with many classes partially or fully online, it's even easier to tune in. But in active learning classrooms, no one is invisible. It's immediately apparent when students have taken the time to prepare, so there's greater motivation to show up in mind and body. So, number 3 requires preparation. Through interaction inside the classroom, the learners or the students will going to participate if the instructors they didn't I decalled everybody. She or he didn't have a favoritism, and also an instructor is giving a trust to a students. That's why the other students will give and boost their confidence also, and they will giving a chance to give or express their opinions and ideas. So next, increases engagement. Students who are actively learning are actively engaged, whether solving problem, debating an issue, or researching a concept. They are processing ideas and forging deeper understanding. And they much less likely to be multitasking in a Zoom or Google Meet session. Through increases engagement, the students will get more understanding, and they are going to have a they will think deeply, so that they will get a more or complex understanding within a topic. Through engagement or actively engage in, the students will actively participating in any activities that the instructor will give. Next, number 5, improves critical thinking. In a world where fake news has become part of our daily discourse, the ability to identify a legitimate source or spot a faulty argument is only become more important. Active learning shifts the focus of learning from passively and questioning, digesting information, to being accountable for actively engaging with sources and perspectives. And when students share ideas, they learn to build strong arguments, challenge presumption, and recognize leaps of logic. Through interactive or in an active learning classroom, the students will gain more information that, for example, if there's some news in the Facebook, they're not going to believe in it, but they're going to search more information to defend, or some evidences that it can be proved as a fact. So through engagement, through interactive learning, or I will say active learning, the students will can build more strong arguments, and also they can easily recognize. So that's why it can improve critical thinking. So next, increases retention. According to Dale's cones of experience, students remember about 10% of what they read, 20% of what they hear, but 90% what they do. Active learning classrooms are, while more active students are often applying their ideas, working on collaborative projects, or using approaches like design thinking or the process to solidify their learning. So, increases retention. According to Dale's cones of experience, so it's 90% that we can remember, because we are doing it, not just reading it or hearing it. So I believe that that's for me, if we talk about Dale cones of experience if we talk about stages by stages, yes, of course, the first percentage is about 10%, because the first thing you learn is how you write and how you read. So it is easy to you to forget the lesson. Unlike into the highest cone of experience of Dale's, like 90% is what you're doing, just like hands-on learning. You can't easily forget the lesson, because you are involving not just also your the way you think, but also all the body parts, or all the body parts is functioning. So that's why it is important that in the classroom there's some collaborative, there's hands-on learning like demonstration, not just like more on lecture. Next, number 7, Make take more powerful. In contrast to lecture halls, which often have displays that students don't get to use an audio system that only pick our presenter's voice, many active learning classrooms are filled with tools and systems that put students at the center. Make take more powerful. So, in active learning classrooms, prioritize student-centered tools and systems that empower students to actively participate in the learning process. Collaboration and societies. This could create an environment and experience a lot of things that they can learn, and also they can adapt it and share it to others. Next, sparks creative thinking. Creativity is one of the key skills needed for the workplace of the future and one of the hardest to teach using traditional methods. Active learning helps students understand that creativity goes beyond the eureka moment. It develops with effort and hard work. With lots of practice flexing their creative muscles, students also see how both individual reflection and collaborative exchange can lead to better ideas and more novel solutions to problems. Through active learning approaches provide students with the tools and experience needed to develop their creativity. By engaging in relevant and worthwhile activities, students learn that creativity requires efforts, practice, and a willingness to challenge established norms. Through active learning, students gain the confidence and skills to generate novel ideas. And through that, they can find innovative solutions to complex problems. That's why through interacting inside the classroom without biases, so there is a lot of lesson that you can get, and also you can train to become more a better person, because through exchanging thoughts, ideas, information, you can learn from it. Next, faster real problem solving. The ability to solve complex problems was called out by the World Economic Forum. Important skills needed for future jobs. Since then, as the COVID-19 changed the world faster than could have seemed possible, this has only gotten more crucial. The ability to solve complex problems is increasingly crucial in the face of rapid changes and uncertainty. Yeah, that's true. Through the COVID-19, it changed the world, and also as an instructor, as a teacher in the classroom, you are training a children, not just giving them a lesson, but to train them to be prepared for the changes and for the upcoming challenges that they might facing. Through active learning approaches, students through active learning approaches provide students with the opportunity to develop this skill by emphasizing creativity, critical thinking, and collaboration. And by engaging in problem-solving activities, students can learn to approach challenges with resilience, adaptability, and innovative thinking, preparing them for the complex problem-solving demands of the future workplace. That's why it is very important that in the classroom, all the students will be participating. We can call the school is a training field to prepare the students, or to prepare as a learner to conquer, to face a lot of changes, the challenges that might come to us, especially in our family. It is important that we are willing to accept the reality, and we are going to face it even it is hard. So that's my topic. It's for the female confidence gap and feminist pedagogy. In a classroom in the classroom, there is no biases. Both male and female, will give enough knowledge. Will give enough information, the knowledge that can teacher can give it to them. So the next reporter will Ma'am Alea. She will explain it more about the feminist confidence gap and feminist pedagogy, gender dynamics in the active engaged classroom. That's it. Thank you.
Gender differences in the classroom to for public talk versus private talk. Gender roles are the patterns of behaviors, attitudes, and expectations associated with particular sex, with being either male or female. For clarity, psychologists sometimes distinguish gender differences, which are related to social rules, from sex differences, which are related only to sociology and autonomy. Using this terminology, gender matters in teaching more than sex in spite of any jokes told about the latter. Although there are many exceptions, boys and girls do differ on average in ways that parallel conventional gender stereotypes and that affect how the sexes behave at school and in class. The differences have to do with physical behaviors, styles of social interaction, academic motivations, behavioral and choices. They have a variety of sources, primarily parents, peers, and the media. Teachers are certainly not the primary cause of gender role differences, but sometimes teachers influence them by their responses to and choices made on behalf of students. So first is physical differences. In gender roles, physically, boys tend to be more active than girls and by the same token, more restless if they have to sit for long periods. They are also more prone than girls to rely on physical aggression if they are frustrated. Both tendencies are consistent with the usual demands of classroom life, of course, and make it a little more likely that school will be a difficult experience for boys, even for boys who never actually get in trouble for being restless or aggressive during the first 2 or 3 years of elementary schools. Gross motor skills develop at almost the same average rate for boys and girls. As a group, both sexes can run, jump, throw a ball, and the like with about equal ease, though there are, of course, wide significant differences among individuals of both sexes. Towards the end of elementary school, however, boys fall ahead of girls at these skills even though neither sex has begun yet to experience poverty. The most likely reason is that boys participate more actively in formal and informal sports because of expectations and support from parents, peers, and society. Poverty eventually adds to this advantage by making boys taller and stronger than girls on average, and therefore more suited at least for sports that rely on height and strength. In thinking about these differences, keep in mind that they refer to average trends and that there are numerous individual exceptions. Every teacher knows of individual boys who are not athletic, for example, or of particular girls who are especially restless in class. The individual differences mean, among other things, that it's hard to justify providing different levels of support or resources to boys than to girls for sports athletics or physical education. The differences also suggest, though, that individual students who contradict gender stereotypes about physical abilities may benefit from emotional support or affirmation from teachers, simply because they may be less likely than usual to get such affirmation from elsewhere. So social differences in gender roles, when relaxing socially, boys more often gravitate to large groups, whether on the playground, in a school hallway, or on the street. Boys' social groups tend literally to fill up a lot of space and often include significant amounts of rough housing as well as organized and semi-organized competitive games or sports. Girls, for their part, may lively to seek and maintain one or two close friends and to share more intimate information and feelings with these individuals. To the extent that these gender differences occur, they can make girls less visible or noticeable than boys, at least in leisure play situations where children or youth choose their companions freely, as with physical differences. However, keep in mind that differences in social interactions do not occur uniformly for all boys and girls. There are boys with close friends, contradicting a general trend, and girls who play primarily in large groups. Differences in social interaction styles happen in the classroom as well. Boys on average are more likely to speak up during a class discussion sometimes even if not called on, or even if they do not know as much about the topic as others in the class. When working on a project in a small co-ed group, Furthermore, they have a tendency to ignore the girls' comments and contributions to the group. In this respect, college students groups parallel interaction pattern in many parts of society, where men also have a tendency to ignore women's comments and contributions. The next one is academic and cognitive differences in gender on average. Girls are more motivated than boys to perform well in school, at least during elementary school. By the time girls reach high school, however, some may try to downplay their own academic ability in order to make themselves more likely by both sexes. Even if this occurs true, it does not affect their grades from kindergarten through 12th grade. Girls can slightly higher average grades than boys. This fact does not lead to similar achievement. However, because as youngsters move into high school, they tend to choose courses or subjects conventionally associated with their gender, math and science for boys. In particular, and literature and the arts for girls by the end of high school. This difference in course selection makes a measurable differences in boys and girls' academic performance in these subjects. But again, consider my caution about stereotyping. There are individuals of both sexes whose behaviors and choices run counter to the group tense. I have made this point as well in preparing for licensure interpreting gender-related behavior by deliberately concealing the gender of student described. Differences within each gender group generally are far larger than any differences between the groups. A good example is the difference in cognitive ability of boys and girls. Many studies have found none at all. A few others have found some differences, with boys slightly better at math and girls slightly better at reading and literature. Still, other studies have found the differences not only are small, but have been getting smaller in recent years compared to earlier studies. Collectively, the findings about cognitive abilities are virtually non-findings, and it is worth asking why gender differences have therefore been studied and discussed so much for so many years. How teachers influence gender roles. Teachers often intend to interact with both sexes equally and frequently succeed at doing so. Research has found, though, that they do sometimes respond to boys and girls differently. Perhaps without realizing it, three kinds of differences have been noticed. The first is the overall amount of attention paid to each sex. The second is the visibility of publicity of conversations. And the third is the type of behavior that prompts teacher to support criticized students. Next, number 3, attention paid in general. Teachers interact with boys more often than with girls by a margin of 10 to 30%, depending on the grade level of the students and the personality of the teacher. One possible reason for the difference is related to the greater assertiveness of base that I already noted. If boys are speaking up more frequently in discussions or at other times, then a teacher may be forced to pay more attention to them. Another possibility is that some teachers may feel that boys are especially prone to getting into mischief, so they may interact with them more frequently to keep them focused on the task at hand. Still, another possibility is that boys, compared to girls, may interact in a wider variety of styles and situations, so there may simply be richer opportunities to interact with them. This last possibility is partially supported by another gender difference in classroom interaction, the amount of public versus private talk. So the last one is the public talk versus private talk. Teachers have a tendency to talk to boys from a greater physical distance than when they talk to girls. The difference may be both a cause and effect of general gender expectations. Expressive nurturing is expected more often of girls and women, and a business-like task orientation is expected more often of boys and men, particularly in mixed-sex groups. Whatever the reason, the effect is to give interactions with boys more publicity. When two people converse with each other from across the classroom, many others can overhear them. When they are at each other's elbows, through few others can overhear.
So good morning everyone. So my topic is all about distributing praise and criticisms. In spite of most teachers' desire to be fair to all students, it turns out that they sometimes distribute praise and criticism differently to boys and girls. The tendency is to praise boys more than girls for displaying knowledge correctly, but to criticize girls more than boys for displaying knowledge incorrectly. By Golombok and Fibosh, 1994, De Lamont, 1996. So another way of stating this difference is by what teachers tend to overlook. With boys, they tend to overlook wrong answers, but with girls, they tend to overlook right answers. The result, which is probably unintended, is a tendency to make boys' knowledge seem more important and boys themselves more competent. A second result is the other side of this coin, a tendency to make girls' knowledge less visible and girls themselves less competent. So the table 4.2 gender differences in how teachers praise and criticize students. So gender differences also occur in the realm of classroom behavior. Teachers tend to praise girls for good behavior regardless of its relevance to content or the lesson at hand, and tend to criticize for boys for bad or inappropriate behavior by Golombok and Fivosh 1994. This difference can also be stated in terms of what teachers overlook with girls. They tend to overlook behavior that is not appropriate, but with boys, they tend to overlook behavior that is appropriate. The net result in this case is to make girls seem more good than they may really be, and also make their goodness seem more important than their academic competence. But by the same token, the teacher's patterns of response imply that boys are more bad than they may really be. At first glance, the gender differences in interaction can seem discouraging and critical of teachers because they imply that teachers as a group are biased about gender. But this conclusion is too simplistic for a couple of reasons. One is that like all differences between groups, interaction patterns are trends and such, they hide a lot of variation within them. The other is that the trends suggest what often tends in fact to happen, not what can in fact happen if a teacher consciously sets about to avoid interaction patterns like the ones I have described. Fortunately for us all, teaching does not tend to be unthinking. We have choices that we can make even during a busy class. Methods in active engaged classrooms feminist pedagogy to offer solutions to help students of all genders succeed in these high-impact environments. Active learning requires deeper planning than simply leading students through a classroom behavior. Active learning has the ring of a slogan. Passive learning is an oxymoron. Or learning is active in the sense of changing long-term memory. Focusing on behavior without cognition ignores both the structures that constitute human cognitive architecture and evidence. From empirical studies over the past half-century, proponents of active learning do in favors by offering this definition. Active learning is, in short, any learning activity engaged in by students in a classroom other than listening passively to an instructor's lecture. It implies the desired activity is observable, while all of us have experienced learning by being actively engaged in lectures. Though our outward appearance might appear passive, it is often the learner who decides their level of learning activity through thoughtful consideration or note-taking. Meyer 2004 emphasizes that learning may be best supported by methods of instruction that involve cognitive activity rather than behavioral activity. The key to active learning is the learning activity taking place within the student's brain rather than observed behavior. That is means to that cognitive work. The animated figure on this page illustrates that the teacher guides students in active learning, triggering those cognitive events consistent with desired learning outcomes. Be sure that your classroom activities have a clearly defined objective and effectively guide the student toward that learning goal. Just-in-time teaching. One way to describe just-in-time teaching or JITT is to say that it lets the students' questions, misconceptions, and/or knowledge gaps guide classroom instruction with JITT. Students complete an assignment or assessment on a given topic before the class period. Shortly before the class, the instructor reviews students' work and adapts the activities and discussions based on the common errors or or misunderstandings in the student's answers. The teacher may use a web-based assessment package or course management system such as Blackboard to facilitate making the assignments and collecting students' answers. A variation of GITT uses in-class response systems such as iClicker to post questions to students during the classroom session. The teacher may ask questions prior to discussion to expose existing misconceptions or ask questions after the discussion. After the discussion to assess understanding in each case, the subsequent discussion addresses the students' misunderstandings. Interactive example. This is an example of monitoring student comprehension while lecturing, particularly for a very large class. The professor can observe student readiness, which they indicate by pressing A, B, or C. Number 2 is listening teams. Listening teams keep students focused during lecture modules or video presentations. They also provide opportunities for questioning and group discussion of K course concepts. Here's how to set up listening teams. Create group of 4 students. Each student will take on one of the rules. You can mix up rules within classes or between classes to keep students engaged. So student number 1, example giver, facilitator or tutor, gives example or application of K concepts. Student number 2, questioner or inquisitive student, asks two clarifying questions about the material. Student 3, devil's advocate or critical thinker, identifies 2 areas of disagreement within the content and explains why.
So good day everyone. So for today's video, I will be going to discuss the students as the teachers and case to success. So this is just the continuation of the topic of Miss Kissy Laugas, Alian Monteron, and Miss Sheena Pahed. So students as the teachers. So students as a teacher is a type of active learning experience. Yes, so the students prepare an actual lesson on a given topic. So the students will prepare an actual lesson. So mura na sila kanang teachers ani ba? Student teachers. So the students lesson can range from 10 minutes. So 10 minutes lang ang gihatag na time. So in a small group to a 30-minute activity presented to the whole class. So 30 minutes ang activity na i-present sa whole class. So don't confuse this with a simple student presentation. So this is broadened. So the students must give an actual lesson that includes lesson objectives. Yes, so evaluation is to assess the students' knowledge, about what they have learned and in this lesson. So their class is encouraged to ask questions and discuss points that the students presents. So their class i-encourage nga. So as a teacher, dapat naagi ka ng interaction. So dapat, if na interactions, daghan ginag questions and discuss points. So next is the case to success. So here are the case to success when the students as the teachers. So create a basic lesson outline for students to follow. So first, you need to create a lesson plan. Oh yes, a lesson plan. A lesson plan is muna siya ang guide nimo to discuss whole thing. Muna siya. So explain basic teaching skills to the students. So of course, if you are as a mentor, you need to explain, you need to discuss to the students on how they will teach. You need to impart knowledge as well sa students kung saan pag-teach, kung saan na-insight ka ng mga technique, sa mga way. So every teacher is has a unique way kung saan nila pag handle ang students, ang saan pag naa sila ka ng mga strategies ba, ang saan nila pag what do you mean by that, ang saan nila pag explain, so ang saan nila pag delegate. So next is define how you will evaluate the students' performance on this task. So lastly is i-define mo kung unsa ang performance sa students. Like mura na siya ka ng demonstration, like that demonstration na na ay i-demo nimo na ang mga panel like muas mo kanang evaluate sa imuhang performance kung giunsa nimo pag kanang how you will deliver it like that. So for example, so I have here an example. So you may evaluate based on their adherence to the lesson outline. So next is you may use their peers' understanding of the topic to evaluate their performance. So pwede ra sad ka mag-use sa peers kanang like understanding of the topic to evaluate their performance. So like sa giunsa nila pagsabot ilang topic ug pag-deliver, just like that. Then next is have a clear cut topics for the students to teach you. So dapat as an educator, you need to deliver it well. You need to be clear like that. So dapat kanang straight to the point gani or like just magbuhat ka og kanang visual aid. Dili lang kay kanang tas-on gid nimo sa usa ka kanang what do you mean by that? Usa ka word daghan na kay description. No. Not like that. Yes, so kay padung nang kaliko-liko anak. So para kanang you need to straight to the point ba para dili na gani magkanang taas pa pero straight to the point pero daghan kay siya goan explanations. So next is give examples of reliable resources for students to use in lesson preparation. Excuse me. What do you mean by that? Kanang i-showcase ilahang creativity ba? Yes, kay every students naman sila kanang creativity. Yes, naamang gid na o dili jud na mawa. So every student has different creativity. Dili man jud na magkapareha sa isa ka classroom. So next is you may assign pairs of student to team teach. Yes, of course. So for example is na meeting imong teacher. Then ikaw inang ka nga kanang please lang ikaw sa akong pa handulon ani dan. So of course, pwede ra jud nga mag-assign ka og duha ka students para saan makanang kuan ba. Pwede ra man jud magsinabutay lang sila. So maura to examples kung saan ang pag-evaluate sa students' performance. So next is the online twist. So this is also an activity that you can use in an online environment. So online twist is one of the activity nga ma-use nimo sa online environment. So case to success in an online environment, sinapo siya kanang ways or techniques para ma-success ang online environment. So first is have the students teach their topic to a group of their peers outside of class. So yes, so the students need nila i-teach ang ilang given nga topic ato sa group of peers. Then, require students to turn in their lesson outline. Need nila ipas ang lesson outline or lesson plan. Ano ba siya gitawag? So next is provide teacher evaluation sheets for the student to give to their peers. So as a panel, nasa kay evaluation sheets. So unsa man yung pag-evaluate kung wala kay evaluation sheets? Unsaan wala ka ng guide kung unsay ka ng nabinay criteria. Yes, then have students submit completed evaluation sheets with lesson outline. So of course, students need before demonstration, you need to submit the lesson plan and the evaluation sheets as well. And saan man pag-evaluate nimo sa imong performance if wala kay evaluation sheets. So dapat lagi na sando ha. So next is evaluation sheets can include, so here are some examples of evaluation sheets. So first is Likert scales, asking their peers to rate. So Likert scales, ask nimo mga peers to rate, i-rate ka kung unsa imong performance, okay ra ba, goods ra ba, dili ba okay, like that. So next is students' ability to cover topic. Diyon sa niya pag-deliver, diyon sa niya pag-discuss ana nga topic. So next is students' preparedness, students' presentation method. So how will you prepared? Like nakuan ba nimo, ginagamit ba nimo ang presentation methods like that? Mao ba? Okay, so students preparedness. So unsa ka ready, wa ka makulba ipag-demo, pag-discuss ana nga topic, like ana ba? So next is effectiveness of students' evaluation methods. So next is short question regarding, so of course, na questions regarding about after na sa imong demonstration or else pwede ra sa during demonstration mo. Yes, pwede ra po sa students ang mga na. So next is strong points of the lesson. Kanang saan siya? Kanang imuhang kuan ba? Like na concise gani mo price, na concise gani mo kanang, what do you mean by that? Kanang naigo jud nimo ba? Naigo jud nimo kung unsay ang ipasabot ana nga description kana nga topic, unsay kanang buot ipasabot ana nga topic nga deliver nimo sa students. So next is points that needed to improve. Yes, kani siya is after I guess that kani siyang points that needed to improve is improvement is after ni siya. So I guess sa panel like that. Sa panel ni siya nga of course after ana mahatag gid sila motivation, feedback like that. So if unsa imong performance ana, so mao ra pa imong madawat nga feedback. Yes. So it may be positive or negative feedback, you need to accept it because it's just your kanang kwan ba pang motivate sa imuha, or if it is negative, so you need to take it as a lesson and take it as motivation nga okay sunod. So nakay kanang kwan ba nga sunod ko anan dayon ako kana paningaon na dayon ako di kana i-improve pa nako ni kaning dapita nga part like that. So next is specific aspect that they learned from the lesson. So remember that all in class case to success also apply to the online students. Yes, the case to success is also applied to the online students. Having the student become the teacher is an excellent way. Yes, it is, excuse me. It is true that student become teacher is an excellent way. Yes, so for me, as a future educator, so I am Betel Ed 2. So for me, nindot siya sa kanang kuan para mahanasad ka ba? Yes, dili na ka mauwa mo kuan sa imong students, di na ka mauwa mo talk o mo discuss. Yes, nindot na siya nga way. So next, for students to become active in their own education by preparing their own lesson. Yes. So katong kuan students nga mahimong active sa ilahang kaugalingong education, I mean. So mag-prepare sila ilang galing lessons, then kanang students are required to have a solid understanding of their topic. So of course, as a student teacher, you need to analyze, you need to understand the topic as well. Kay if pangutan-on ka na kay katubag. And para pod makasabot sa imuhang students ana. Di lang kay kanang after ana discuss then go to the next topic na pod nga wala man day kasabot ang mga students. So students, teachers are required to have a solid understanding of their topic and develop deeper insights. So yes. So if magbasa ka sa imong topic, magtuon ka, kuan gid mo kanang masabtan, mas lawom pa. Yes, and they will gain ownership of their selected topic. This approach will allow for better classroom interaction than traditional methods of teaching.
So, hi everyone. Ari na ta sa next topic nako, which is step-by-step instructions for teachers. So, diri na ang kanang mga angay buhaton or buhaton sa maestra mo ni. Here's where the preparation comes in. So, first, number 1, create a comprehensive outline of material covered in class or assignments. Students may assist in this effort. So, diring dapita mo ni ang first thing jud nga buhaton sa usa ka maestra before siya mag-conduct og klase kay diri magbuhat siya lesson plan kay true ani kay kanang mao maning magsilbi niya nga kanang roadmap para sa iyahang class kay para organize ang iyahang flow sa iyahang klase. So, 2. Give each student a copy of the outline. So, during dapita after magbuhat sa ni teacher o kanang outline, of course, iya po ni siyang i-distribute sa iyang mga class kanang tagaan niya copy ang iyang mga students para ang students sad makahibaw aware ang students kung unsay need nilang unsay i-expect nila sa ilahang klase aron makasabot pod sila. Then number 3, at the start of class, give a detailed explanation of the team quizzes procedure. So during dapita ini kanang magsugod ng klase or kanang quiz mga inana. So diri nga kuan part is kanang ang teacher is maghatag na bitaw siya mga instructions kung unsay angay buhaton sa students para ang mga students pod is kanang dili na maglibog kanang directly na lang pod sila magbuhat kung unsay gipabuhat sa maestra kay kanang naghatag naman og kuan instruction ang mga maestra kung unsay mao ni kung unsay angay buhaton ug unsay dili, unsay mga rules kanang mga inana dira. So next arin ta sa number 4. divide the students into 3 groups. So diri of course para naapod bitay kanang active engagement or participation ang kanang inyong class. So magkuan ba ka karon imo barong kanang i-group ang imong class, like inana imo lang i-divide kuno, divide students into 3 groups kay true man po na ni kaning groupings kay kanang makuan bitaw ang engagement bitaw sa inyong klase is kanang fun pud ba, dili siya boring. So true pud ani kay kanang daghan pog ma-learn ang students din mag-enjoy pud sila. So next kay number 5. Assign one team the responsibility of creating a specific number of questions guided by the outline and derived from the course material. So diri nga part o gibahin-bahin naman na ninyo kanang ang teacher is kanang gibahin-bahin na niya ang class. So iya na po na kanang maglahi-lahi na po siya hatag og responsibility, like example kaniba nga group magbuhat iya ning pabuhaton og questions din kanang kaning nga group lahi na pod. So diri so mag-base lang gihapon sila dito sa katong outline na gihatag sa maestra. Next, number 6, assign the remaining 2 teams the responsibility of collectively studying the outline and material. So gi-groups man to nimo katong imong mga students. So diri ang other groups is kanang imo silang i-assign nga kanang fokusan bitaw nila ang outline nimo ilang imo silang kuana ni assign nga i-understand to nilang ang outline mo to ilahang fokusan. So 7, allocate an appropriate amount of time for group study question series. So after ana, so of course og mahaghatag na kaana nila magpa-assign na ka. So of course imo pud gani sila tagaag time para makabuhat ana kung unsa may imuhang gipabuhat, din makakuan pod bitaw sila naapod sila kanang kay mag-brainstorming pa man na sila. So magtinabangay pa man na sila unsa ilang mga buhaton, magplano pa na sila. So tagaan gina nimo sila time. Of course ang imuha pong ug maghatag pug kag time is dapat kanang sakto ra bitaw sa imuhang sakto ra bitaw ang time sa imuhang katong kuan gihatag nimo nga outline kay adto man pud ka mag base. So number 8, with the class still clearly and physically divided into 3 groups, stage a contest wherein the first group presents the questions they have created to the other 2 groups. So dira gi group to nimo na ay kuan. So ang first group is kanang dira na nga mag-present sila sa kanang ilahang mga questions, imuhan na silang contest nga ang mao example mo ni ang first group niya mao ning second group. So kani nga first group is kanang maghatag sila question diri sa second group, din kani pong second group is kanang sila po'y motubag sa kanang question ani sa first group. Kay true ani is kanang ang inyo habitang class kay kanang kuan pud lingaw pud siya, dili siya as in boring. So number 9 nata. Last, select questions from among those the students created to include in the actual test. This intrinsically rewards attendance, class participation, and attentiveness. So diring dapita is katong nagpabuhat man kag mga questions sa imuhang mga students. So ikaw pod kung mag-test na ka sa actual test na gyud kay kanang magkuha pod bitaw kag questions sa katong ilahang gibuhat nga questionnaires aron dili pod kay sila as in walay nahinumduman ba aron na pod sila point kay this kanang o kato pun ilang gibuhat kay mag-serve man po to nila nga kanang rewards po to nila kanang aron naapod sila points ba. So maoratong ako thank you.